Hello and welcome to another video on Power BI. In this video, I will be going through Max and Max function. This video is meant for people who are new to Power BI, and for that reason, I'll be going through this in a slow and deliberate manner. So first, let me go to the Microsoft documentation and see the syntax and then start our exercise. So let's start with the Max function. So it says returns the largest value in a column or between two scalar expressions. So as you can see here, it takes two parameters. Either you can give a column name or you can pass two expression, and it should be a scalar one. Scalar when I say max, min, etc. And then returns the largest value. This is what Microsoft documentation states about max function. So now let's go to the second function, that is max. Evaluates an expression for each row of a table and returns the largest value. So the parameters takes two values. One is the table and then the expression. And it also returns the largest value. So now what we can do is use the sample data set and then try to evaluate or try to implement this in Power BI and see what we get. As usual, I'll be using a sample data set for the sake of ease of understanding. And as you can see here, I have the brand of various mobile manufacturers and also the region and the sales made in two quarters, Q1 and Q2. So now let me quickly load this data into Power BI and then see how we can use these two functions in these scenarios. So now I have this data in the PBI file. So I've created a table here and also have a matrix here. So now let's try different scenarios and then see how the max and max function can be used. Okay, so now let me quickly create a measure and to see how we get different results using these two functions. So now let me call this as max example1 equal to. Let's try to find the maximum sales in, let's say, Q1. Okay, out of this data, what you have in the PBI, the table, let's see which brand has a maximum sales. So let's see how we can get this. So max of, let's use Q1, sales of Q1, and then hit enter. And now let me bring this to the values here. Now you can see I'm getting for Apple 200. So if I look for Apple, so as you can see here, America's 120, APJ 100, and EMEA 200. So max for Apple is 200, and that's what you get here. Similarly, for Samsung, it's for EMEA 195, and that's what you see here. And America for Xiaomi, it's 100, and that's what you get here. So this is one of the way how we the calculation. So basically, it's going to each record and then picking the max out of these records. So now let's use another scenario. As we know, as we see in the syntax, right, it takes two expressions, scalar. We can also give a scalar expression. So now what I'll do here is and now let me call this as max example2 equal to max of sales Q1, and then I need to compare, let's say within sales Q1 and sales Q2, which one is the max. So now, since it's a scalar expression, right? So I'll use one more max function, and within max, so I'll get the max of Q1, and then the next scalar, the max of, let's say, sales Q2, right? So max of this one gives me a scalar result, and this one also gives me a scalar result. So out of these two, which is the max? So now hit enter. So it allows comparison between two columns. So now if I bring this here, you can see I'm getting 210 for Apple. So what it does, it compares 120 with 110 and we get 120. It compares 100 with 90 and we get 100. And then 200 with 210, we get 210. 210 is the max. So out of the results, 210 is the max, right? So, and that's the reason you can see the max out of these two columns is 210. Similarly, it does for Samsung as well. And that's the reason you see 200, we have it here. And for this one, I think it's 110, and that's what we see here. So that's how we can use max function. And now let's try another example. Now let's try with the max function with double X. So let me create max and call this as example 3 equal to, let's use the max function. So it takes two parameters, the table and expression, and let's input the table name. So it's sheet 1. And now let's say I want to do a sum of sales and then get the max. Okay. Let's say I want to look for Q1 and then hit enter. And let's see what we get as a result. And now let me bring this to the values here. Now you see the results are a bit different from what we had in the first example, example 1 and example 3. In the first example, I was getting 200, but now I'm getting 420. And the reason is the evaluation happens first and then the max function is calculated. So what happens is like, okay, this part, right, sum of sheet sales Q1. So let's say for Q1, for Apple, if we add this together, 200 plus 100, 300 plus 120, 420. That's what we see at 420. So first this calculation happens here and then we get the results. So as you can see here, we are getting 420 because the max, it's not doing at a row level, but it evaluates first this part, okay? It sums up this part and then I'm getting the result 420. And that's how the max function works. The difference is like how it is evaluated. And also the max function takes two parameters. One, you can have two scalar expression, but in the max function, you have two parameters, one with the table and then the expression which needs to be evaluated first, right? So the evaluation happens here and then we get the results. So let's say, let's change this weight, let's say max function. So now the result should be different. Let's see what happens here. Now I think it's same because first what happens is like this one gets evaluated. Let's say for Apple, the max here is 200, okay? And that's the reason it takes a scalar value. So max of 200 is 200 and that's why you get 200 here. So the main difference here is like where the evaluation happens first. So the inside, the function which is inside or the expression gets evaluated first, and then the outer function is evaluated. And that's the main difference. So there is one more function called Max A. At least right now, I don't have uh, a proper example to show it here. So maybe I'll try to find a better example in my later videos and try to solve the Max A function. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.